All right. Happy Monday, everybody. You amazing people out there. Good to see you. So, a couple of things right off the bat. If any of you are feeling a little bit frazzled this morning on this Monday, it's okay. I am too. So, just got in yesterday and had to travel. And I woke up this morning, and I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like Alan Schultz slapped me in the eye last night. So, but he didn't. He didn't. So I don't really know what's going on. But I tell you all that to say, you know what? If you're feeling a little frazzled this morning, so am I. So we're gonna make it a great day. And we've got a celebration of a birthday lady this morning. Her name is Melinda Lanier. So we are going to sing her happy birthday this morning. And I got to give big shout outs to you. Last week was like, it's amazing how many people was tuning in, watching the recording of the Coach's Corner all over the country, around the world, different places. So thank you. Thank you for inviting people. Thank you for continuing to share this community. So the word for today is the word for the year for Heal Blue. And it is fear. Fear. Now, I don't know that Heal is very fearful if you've watched any of his TikToks. This man is good on TikToks, but we're going to go with it. It's his word for the year. So I looked at it, and the definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by belief that someone or something is dangerous or uncomfortable or could cause harm or could cause pain or could cause threat. And as I was thinking about that, I immediately went to holding myself back because of fear. Okay. And I can so relate to this. Like, I can so relate to moments in my life. Have you ever had to change jobs? Oh my goodness. You talking about, like, I was an educator, and so I've been to multiple different schools in my career. And none of those were easy. Like, there was this sick feeling inside of me that I was having to transition from one school to the next school. Are the people going to be weird? Are they going to be nice? Or is the culture going to be right? Like, I would just stay up at night, couldn't sleep, like worried, scared, fearful. And to some points, I even didn't make the move because I was so scared. And there was a point in my life where so I'm just going to try to be real fast. There was a head coaching job one time came open, and I wanted to apply, but then I was fearful. And I try to always do this, but I went to my mentor at that time. And as we were sitting around, we were having a cup of coffee, and we were talking about this move that I was fearful to make. Didn't know the people, didn't know the culture, didn't know all this. I was trying to talk myself out of it. I was just back and forth, back and forth. You ever been there before? And he told me, he said, let me tell you something that's really helped me over the years. He said, good Lord willing, you're going to be 150 years old one day, and you're going to be rocking in that rocking chair, and you're going to be thinking back about your life. And at that point, nothing really matters. You've made it. You're 150 years old. But let me ask you a question. What are you going to wish you would have done? Where are you going to wish you would have went? And I thought, that's huge. Like, what does it matter? Go for it. Go for it. And that day I took that head coaching job. I share that with you because I want to share you a story really quick. Anybody know a guy that started Amazon? You want to put it in the chats? Yeah. Oh, Jeff, me and him's good buddies. No, I'm kidding. We're not. But I do like to look and research people. And so he came across this quote, and I actually put it on my social media this morning. One of the only ways to get out of a tight box is to invent your way out. And where I took that was anytime I'm in a tight box in my mind, the only way to get out and flourish and grow is to invent my way out, is to go, you know what? Am I going to regret not doing it when I'm, good Lord willing, 150, rocking in that chair? Because, see, he could say that because he did it. See, Jeff Bezos in 1994 quit his job as an investment banker, and he moved to Seattle, Washington, and he started Amazon. He started this book review company. That's what Amazon was, this virtual book review company. How many of you know that? Yeah, a lot of you do. But let me ask you, do you know this? From 1994, working out of his garage with a handful of employees, developing this technology that we know today, they started to develop Amazon. And he realized as 94 went to 95, 95 went to 98, 98 went to year 2000, he had to constantly invent Amazon to something different, to something new. And then he realized, I need other smart people in here with me. And he started giving away equity. He started giving away shares. Do you realize that Bezos he was like, at one point, he had 20% of ownership in Amazon and made billions. Today, 2023, well, 24, but in 2023, Jeff Bezos owned 9.56% of Amazon, a now documented over $400 billion company. So he gave away, he invented, he moved, he changed. And as I read his story, I see fear. But he stepped past it. He stepped past it every time. So for me, it's like those things hold me back. Is it alive on Facebook? Is it calling a prospect? Is it moving from one company because things have changed to another? Is it moving from a job I've got to somewhere I need to go? Like, what is it holding me back? Ask yourself, hopefully, the question, good Lord willing, 150, rocking in a chair. Will I be glad I did it, or will I regret because fear held me back not doing it? So that was my thought this morning. Hill, great word. Andrew, I'll turn it to you.
Great lesson this morning. So thank you for sharing that. And so what I looked into, the quote that I found was, the fears we don't face become our limits. And I, as you guys know, I can be a little bit fearful. Like many of you have heard, some of the stories of the different things that I can be afraid of. And I spent a lot of my life being a little bit timid. I still do, but a little bit more timid. I am afraid of spiders and heights and, enclosed spaces and flying on an airplane and big bridges and humans. Like all of these things were super scary for me. But what I found was that my world was shrinking. So I'd want to go somewhere, but I'd have to figure out how to drive because I didn't want to get on an airplane. Or I'd have to go on a different, my phone is literally transcribing all of this to Todd Rowland. So he would have loved that text message that I was just sending him. But I would drive different routes so that I wouldn't have to go on that high bridge, or, wouldn't go on certain hikes because I knew that there were going to be snakes or whatever on it. And I felt this world shrinking. So it's probably close to 12, maybe 13 years ago now, I decided that I had to feel the fear and do it anyway. So every chance that I got, I tried to do something that was a little bit scary. So I held a tarantula. I cried while I did it, but I held the dang thing anyway. And then the next time I did it, it was kind of cute. They're soft. They kind of feel like a little puppy. So it wasn't nearly as bad.
Crazy. Oh, I didn't say that out loud. I thought I was muted.
I drove every single bridge that I used to avoid. I would make sure that if I was going somewhere, I had to hit the bridges that would scare me. I would fly without any anxiety medication, because I knew that I would just, when I got to the other, I would or I wouldn't get to the other side, but I just had to muscle through it and talk to all the people. And what I saw was the more things that I did that were scary to me, the less things I found scary. I was able to do a little bit more. I was able to overcome some of these things so that they didn't slow me down and take away my life. So what I looked into today, and I'll be really fast, was how to be less fearful. So first of all, we got to notice it. Like, what is fear that we're trying to call logic, right? Well, it just makes good sense to stay on the ground because if we were designed to fly, God would have given us wings. Like, that just doesn't make sense. But really, that's just fear talking. So we've got to figure out, when we feel that fear so we can find out what's holding us back. Next is we've got to find our inspiration. So who in your life do you look at and think, man, they are fearless? Try to follow in their footsteps. Try to just take a page out of their page book to see what you can bring into your life. Next is to be willing to look stupid. And I've done plenty of this, and overcoming fearfulness can be embarrassing, and release that embarrassment and keep going. And I will say this is a great example of looking like an idiot. So when I used to fly and I was afraid, I would literally either put a blanket over my head or a sweatshirt on backwards, like a hoodie, so that I couldn't see. And I would tell myself, you're just on a bus. It's a bouncy bus. It's a bouncy bus. And literally would talk to myself looking like a crazy person. But you know what? I can fly now without having to do that. So I was willing to look a little stupid to get past it so it doesn't bother me anymore. Next is to focus on gratitude, even in moments of extreme fear. When we are so scared and overwhelmed and want to turn around and run the other way, there's something to be grateful for. And if we can latch onto that gratitude, it can help us overcome that fear. Next is put it in perspective. Like, in this grand scheme of life, does it really matter that when I'm speaking in front of other people, I stumble over all of my words, like all of the words? No, because hopefully they can understand the gist of what I'm trying to say, and they're going to love me anyway. So, I will survive. And what's the likelihood of, when I'm going over that bridge, that a bee is actually going to fly into my car, or I'm actually going to sneeze and like fly off into the future? Well, probably not super likely. So I can just hang on tight and just keep on driving. Next is to try hard things. So the harder things that we try, be it, running a little bit farther or talking to a little bit more people, or whatever something is that's hard for you, well, that builds our confidence. The higher our confidence in ourself and what we can overcome, the lower our fear. And then lastly, give yourself some grace. So I may have completely different fears than you do, and it may take me longer to get over them than it took you to overcome yours. But either way is just fine. So we wouldn't make fun of a kid that was crying because they're afraid of something. So we probably shouldn't make fun of ourselves, and we should be a little bit nicer and give ourselves a little bit of grace when we're trying to overcome some of these stumbling blocks. That's what I got.
Hey, great lesson. That was awesome. Now, the tarantula, I don't know about. So we're going to move
I'll get
right
you
on
one.
past that.
I'll get you one for your birthday.
No, thank you.
Next year.
Thank you. Melinda, it's your day today. Happy birthday to you. We hope you have the most amazing day ever. And so we're going to unmute, give you a shout out.
Happy
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melinda.
Happy birthday
Happy birthday to you.